Y'all, thank you for tuning in. It's your boy, Brother Winston, back at it again. So I always find it interesting when people are like, look, I voted for Donald Trump. Now I regret it. It's like saying, look, I voted for Satan. I'm a Christian, but I voted for Satan. And now I regret voting for him. Okay? Think to me, so that's not a good comparison. Oh, it absolutely is. Did y'all guys not see Donald Trump's insurrection where 5 people lost their lives? Where he was trying to overturn an election? And you guys voted for this man again? Okay? Come on now. Nobody feels sorry for y'all. But they're mad because Donald Trump didn't do the thing they wanted him to do. Come on now. Look at this. This is a guy, Adin Ross, one of the #1 streamers in the world, who was loving Donald Trump a year ago.
Check out this rap and let me know your honest thoughts. I think it's incredible. I'll get on the other side.
So that's a present that Adin Ross gave this man. He's giving a rich man presents. All right. And Donald Trump is just sitting there like, I'm going to take it. Can't hate on him for that. No, I mean, shoot. Donald Trump like, okay, I don't know why you're doing this.
Make it see. Oh, I didn't know this. Now I know it's
worth it. Okay, so he's sitting there dancing with the real Donald Trump.
Only maybe 2 people in this world, if they walked in, I'd be like, oh my God. Like, who are they? Probably Trump for me.
We got to help you get Trump on the stream.
Please,
I told
bro.
Cheyenne.
Would you change up the way you acted if you did have Trump on the pod?
Yes, 100%.
Like, you'd be way professional.
I would be like, you know what I mean? Just like, really like.
What did Donald Trump do? I have to say this. What did Donald Trump do that Donald Trump came in to a stream, Donald Trump came onto a show, you have to be like, oh, let me honor you, Donald Trump. This man has been an extreme racist, okay? It's like Charlie Kirk. People that say, oh, Charlie Kirk was such a good guy. No, he's an extreme racist, a terrible guy. All right. Donald Trump, even worse. Not just with racism, but with all kind of stuff. All right. And people say, oh, well, you have to understand he's trying to clean up America. You don't do it that way. No one's arguing the fact that America has a bunch of problems. We have an immigration problem, yes. Okay. We have people abusing the system, yes. Politicians are having abused the system, yes. All this stuff is true. But Donald Trump uses all of those things and then does the exact same thing and worse. And you can clearly see that. Looking at the insurrection that he had, it should have been the biggest sign for those folks. I mean, think about it. I'm not making this up. This is really what happened, okay? Donald Trump told people to come to a rally. He announced it on Twitter, did he not? He said, quote, it'll be wild. The rally was specifically to try to stop the ratifying of votes because he didn't want votes to be sealed that would have caused him to lose the election, even though he lost the election. Okay, even if you didn't agree with the outcome of the election, you cannot do that. You cannot have a rally to fight against people. Actually, he wanted the people to actually go in there and physically stop them from actually basically saying, look, these are the votes, everything's finished, you lost the election. Okay, he tried to actually have a gang overturn the election. That's what the whole this thing in September was about. I forget which date it was, but that's what that whole thing was about. The insurrection that he had. Okay, then he had his vice president. Okay, who said he was a Christian, Mike Pence. Okay, his former vice president, who now is not his vice president, is now J.D. Vance. And the reason why he's not the vice president now is because Donald Trump almost had Mike Pence killed. And if you remember, at that time, Mike Pence was the one who was sitting there, who had to actually preside over the votes being ratified. Okay, and Donald Trump said over Twitter, basically, he needs to stop doing it. He needs to basically break the law. And Mike Pence was like, I can't break the law. I'm the vice president, but I can't break the law. So people actually said they were going to actually run they basically brought some rope to hang Mike Pence. They brought a gallows to hang Mike Pence, okay? And you know what happened? Donald Trump said this wouldn't be happening if Mike Pence just did what he's supposed to do. And Mike Pence could have actually been hung. Okay, he could have actually lost his lives. If 5 people lost their lives, one of them was like a police officer or like a security guard, lost their lives. All because of Donald Trump. And y'all seeing that, Adin Ross, all y'all seeing that, y'all say, you know what, we need to give this guy another chance. We need to give this man another chance.
I vote for Trump, but I don't agree right now with this Epstein shit. This shit needs to come to life. I will remind the world every week if I have to, bro. This Epstein shit is a real thing. We can't just put the shit under the rug and forget about it. We want to know who the fuck's on that list. We want to know what the fuck went on. And that's what we want to know as Americans. We deserve that shit, bro. And that's facts, bro. And that's.
I apologize for the language, y'all, but I had to. This is how this guy talks, okay? So I had to show that. Now I do understand that Adin Ross is still kind of young. He's I guess mid-20s, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, he, like a lot of these folks, they ride the Trump train because they like what Trump was saying. They like what Trump says against immigrants. They like what Trump says against black people. They like the America that Trump's trying to build. All right. Now, because this Epstein stuff is blowing up so much, now all of a sudden they act like they're surprised. But anyone with half a brain could have seen that Donald Trump was involved with all of that kind of stuff. Anybody can see Donald Trump was trying to hide stuff. All right. Look at the woman, for example. I think her name was Jean Carroll or something. I forget what the woman's name was. The woman who accused Donald Trump of R-ing her. All right. And Donald Trump said, I never knew that woman. And then she provided evidence to show that Donald Trump knew her. And then he said, well, I may have knew her, but I didn't know her like that. She said, no, I was in like a JCPenney or somewhere, a department store in Manhattan years ago. And Donald Trump came in there and they recognized each other. I think she was over some kind of company or something like that. She was pretty big. And Donald Trump went into the dressing room where she was at and forced himself upon her. And I'm saying that lightly, okay? Forced himself upon her. And she told people, and they said, he's Donald Trump. You can't do anything about that. It'll make you look bad to try to come against him and make such allegations back then in the 90s, okay? So he got away with it. She brought it up again. And you know what happened? Donald Trump had to actually, when she took him to court, Donald Trump actually lost, okay? Here's the man was the president, or former president, when she took him to court, and she actually beat him. That tells you right there that she was right, that she had evidence to prove that, yeah, this man did do this to me. And for all of that evidence, you guys, let me vote for him again. Now you're sitting there saying, wow, man, this evidence shit needs to come to light. It needs to come to light. This is the same Donald Trump that said,
my daughter is beautiful, Ivanka.
By the way, your daughter,
She's beautiful.
can I say this? A piece of
Yeah.
For the last couple of years, I go out with somebody, and she's like 21, and she's talking about, what are you doing? And she's studying algebra. And
So what?
And it's like, it was always embarrassing for me to walk in. It's too young. 30's like a perfect age.
Absolutely, she had enough life experience.
Until she's 35.
so you see how Donald Trump just said, look, it's embarrassing for me. This is the same Donald Trump that said this stuff. And he said it's embarrassing. He didn't say that he felt it was wrong for a woman to be that young, because Donald Trump is still older when he's making this video. This is in the 90s when he's interviewing with Howard Stern here, and he doesn't say it's wrong. He says it's just a little bit embarrassing.
Too much life experience.
35. What is it at 35, Howard? It's called checkout time.
And you're probably, I would say, the greatest judge of beauty on this planet. In fact, I would create a TV show for you where all you did was just judge women.
Now, that may be the best idea of all.
It's a simple thing. It's a half hour, and we strip it out all over
No,
the
I would
country.
say I'm the all-time judge.
You own this pageant. You go over. You're meeting the girls. It's like one of them comes up to you and says, "Mr. Trump."
You understand? Donald Trump has had beauty pageants. Okay, he's been over beauty pageants, and now they're talking about Donald Trump doing some nasty stuff with some of these young women. Check this out.
You're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man, right? Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No,
Right.
but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have that. You're a
you
guy who likes
certainly
to have
think-
everything,
Well,
right?
couldn't that be construed, however, as
Conflict?
yes?
I don't see it as a
It
conflict.
could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And,
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what-
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed.
So he's going backstage while the women who are getting ready for the pageant are undressed essentially. Donald Trump at that very moment, he knows I need to show up at this time just to inspect things. This is the caliber of man that people voted for.
to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking.
So right there, you can understand what kind of man Donald Trump is. Now here we have another one, okay, a black one of all kind. We have Candance Owens, a woman that can't stand her own people, who is an opportunist when it comes to race, who's an opportunist when it comes to who she's going to stand with. All right, she saw all the stuff that now Candance Owens, unlike the first kid we had, Adin Ross, she's much older than Adin Ross, much more wiser. Should be, I should say. I'll say she should be much more wiser than Adin Ross. Okay, more educated than Adin Ross. I'll say that. All right, and she knows what Donald Trump came with. But Candance Owens, seeing him from the very beginning, heard all that Donald Trump said, all the evil that came out of his mouth. How he said, we're going to bring things back to the good old days. Remember that rally that he had where it was a black guy in the crowd, and some people he said something they didn't like, and they started trying to attack the guy. And Donald Trump said, "Man, in the good old days, we would have beat this guy up so bad in the good old days." Basically saying, "Look, if it was the 60s or the 50s, we could have tore this guy apart, hung the guy. All right, but we can't do it right now." That's why the slogan is "Make America Great Again." Again means let's go back in time the way it used to be. All right, where there was extreme segregation and all that kind of stuff. We can hang people and just hang them in the streets and just go on with our lives and not have to worry about these stupid civil rights laws. Okay. Now, Candance Owens, knowing all of that, supported Donald Trump, and it gets me how. And I want you guys to understand this. I want you guys to share this video. Also, hit the like button if you can. Please help this video be seen. Understand these people. They move wherever there's opportunity for them. Candance Owens, when Donald Trump needed her, Adin Ross, when Donald Trump needed them to vote, okay, they're there. I'm ready to vote for you, master. But once things don't look good online, when the tone changes online, oh, the Epstein thing can't be swung as being positive. Well, let's be against it. Let's stand over here against Donald Trump. But then, when we can hide it, oh, let's stand with Donald Trump. Okay, look at Candance Owens here.
Are you done with Donald Trump, or could you see a way that you would end up perhaps voting for him?
I will say is that he's been a chronic disappointment, and I feel embarrassed that I told people to go vote for him because this wasn't going to happen, and it is happening.
You look at the terminology that they use too. Embarrassment, like Donald Trump. Oh, it's just embarrassing. They're not saying, look, what we did was wrong. I can admit that. These are the caliber of people that you are endorsing. When you endorse Candance Owens, when you endorse Adin Ross, when you endorse people like Charlie Kirk, okay, and all the other folks that have pushed Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk, before his death, basically was like, look, I don't like how Donald Trump was, how he's dealt with this Epstein thing. It needs to come out. That may be, in my opinion, that's why Charlie Kirk is no longer alive, okay? Because he spoke out against his master, and he shouldn't have done it. He should have understood what the game that he was playing. He didn't understand that. And that's why he's not alive anymore. I said it from the very beginning. You watch the videos. From the very beginning, I said, I think Donald Trump had something to do with that. All right, now I see these videos out now where Charlie Kirk is speaking against Israel. All right, so he's speaking against the power of Netanyahu, and he's speaking against Donald Trump. All right, and he thought that would just go over fine. He just do what he wanted to do, and now you see what happened to him. So now look at Candance Owens. This is the same young woman, Candance Owens. If you don't know, if I'm not mistaken, she said something against a Jewish person, and they basically threw her out of the camp. Okay, she opened up her mouth, thought she could say whatever she wanted to say, and now Candance Owens is trying to stand in the middle. She doesn't know where she wants to be at.
This wasn't going to happen, and it is happening. But I just think that the picture of politics in America is going to look very differently because of his actions. So,
well, you're the one that put him there, Candance. How about I was stupid, I was foolish for doing that? But they can't say that, can they? And when they can't say it, with the problem is that the people that have voted like Candance Owens that put him there, they're looking like, well, it's just an anomaly. It's just an anomaly. No, you were a fool. You voted for the man. Okay? It's not like Donald Trump didn't show you. That's the thing that gets me. It's not like he didn't show them who he was. He showed them who he was over and over and over again. All right? It's like a guy, for example, who goes around mooning people all day long. Okay? You can vote for an intellectual man, okay, God-fearing man, or a man who runs around all day long and he's mooning people, pulling his pants down and exposing himself. That's what Donald Trump did before the election, before both elections. All right? If the Access Hollywood video popped up of Donald Trump saying grab the woman by the private parts and all that kind of stuff, did Donald Trump apologize for that? No. First he tried to lie. He said it wasn't even him. You remember, he said that wasn't even me. Tried to straight up lie about it. All right? Never apologized for none of that stuff. And them seeing all of that, so I'm gonna vote for him anyway. All right. Then now some people have said, well, look, we voted for him because it was the best of, we had to pick the best of two evils. We had to pick the best of two. It was two demons to vote for. We picked the nicer demon. Okay. Even though Donald Trump is never the nicer demon. All right. So they picked Donald Trump, and in his first election, we see that what he does, we see that when he tries to be elected again, he has an insurrection. Okay. He has people climbing up official buildings in D.C., breaking into buildings, He's responsible for people losing their lives. He actually is responsible for murder. Donald Trump, in my opinion, should have been tried for treason and murder. He really should have been. Okay, because he caused those people to be killed. He caused the whole event to happen. He told them to go there to break the law. And when they went, they said, "Let's march down to this building, and I'll be with you." Then, as he told them that he'd be with them, they went there because he said that. Donald Trump bounced. He dipped. Okay, he wasn't there. And you can see the video of Donald Trump watching everything that was happening on TV with his family. And people got killed. And Donald Trump, after all of that, sat there and said, "Man, I can't believe this happened." Okay, I can't believe this happened. But if you look at when it was going on, Donald Trump was tweeting the whole time. He wasn't saying y'all need to stop until everything was over. Then he started tweeting, "Oh, we need to get out of here." After he got what he wanted. Okay? And people are so stupid and so foolish. After all that, they said, "Let's vote for him again." And these opportunities like Candance Owens will come on and say, "It wasn't what I expected." Look at what she's saying here.
Happening, but as this wasn't going to happen, and it is happening. But I.
How could you not think this stuff was going to happen? Look what he did the first time. What are you talking about? Now, this is, again, Nick Fuentes, a guy who I showed another video about Charlie Kirk where he was saying Charlie Kirk is a Jew lover and all that kind of stuff. And he said if he just stopped loving the Jews, he would be all right. All the stuff that Charlie Kirk done did, okay? But this guy is not a beacon of righteousness at all. But look what Nick Fuentes is saying here, okay?
Trump, whether he has good intentions, fundamentally about Trump.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull that back. He basically said liberals. Let me see if I can pull this back. Here we go. Let's go on.
Right. Fundamentally about Trump. Whether he has good intentions or bad intentions, whether he means well or not, some people blame his advisors. Some people blame people around him. Whatever you think about his culpability, he is in effect, okay, maybe not consciously or intentionally, but in effect, what he is a demagogue. What
I was trying to show you guys in the beginning was he was saying liberals, okay, are right about Trump. I'm not a liberal myself. I'm independent, but I couldn't get to that area where he was saying that. But essentially, this guy is a person that for what I could see, was all in favor of what Trump was doing. All right, because him and Charlie Kirk had those things in common. All right, and that young Republican base, or far right base, and now he's saying, look, he's in effect a demigod. Y'all couldn't see that before. We told y'all that, and he's saying, look, liberals are right. You guys knew what he was going to do. You guys saw what he was going to do. But the problem is that it's affecting you in a negative way, and also online, it's not financially profitable to be running on a Trump train to that effect right now. It's more profitable because the way things are online, and me, I'm a guy who's online, puts videos online. If you don't say what other people are saying, your view counts will drop. If your view counts drop, your money will drop. Okay, if you could get 1 million views, which could bring you in, depending on your CPM, which is how much money you get per 1,000 views, you could possibly get thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from 1 million views. And instead you say, well, I love Trump, even though you really do love Trump, and now your views drop down to 150 views, and you don't even get $1, okay, from YouTube or from wherever you are. A lot of times they're going to switch to the other one, okay? These people, they love Trump, all right? They love Trump, but they're just saying what is financially acceptable at the time.
This is a populist demagogue. And directionally, what liberals said about him, which is that he was stirring up the rubes, animating the rubes with nativist rhetoric and ginning up resentment against the system to empower himself and the people around him, and then brought the swamp closer to the periphery in his first and second administration, willing to say and do anything. Yeah, that all kind of turned out to be true.
I'll even give Nick Fuentes that he is right in there. He's saying, look, they said this and we were wrong. All right. I'm not giving him a pass because he knew that. And he's just trying to stand on the right side. But at least he's saying that.
If you could give President Trump, or if you were able to talk to President Trump tonight, what would you like him to know?
I would like to say, Mr. President, I am so sorry for believing the lies that the mainstream media has just projected on me and that I fell for and I believed. I stand by you. I love you. I thank you for what you're doing for this country, and I'm so sorry that I just took it for granted. And
I love you. I love you, Donald Trump. I love all that you're doing. I love the fact that you're my president. I love the fact that you're racist. I love the fact that you're telling me stuff that's obvious, like that the mainstream media lies. I didn't know that until you showed up, Donald Trump, and showed me that the mainstream media lies. Thank you. You give me a brain to think, Donald Trump. You give me a brain to think. That's what they were saying.
This is not going to be easy for me to do or for me to say. And I know that it's too late. And I know that I was wrong. I am sorry. And I know that it's too late. But I do want to apologize. I was raised with a narrative. I believed people in my life who were liars. I voted for a pedophile. I stood for genocide. I was racist. I was sexist. I was ignorant. I put people in harm's way. And I am sorry. And I am working to change. But being made fun of and being told I was wrong.
Okay, so this is a video about you saying stop making fun of me. Is that what this is about?
Over and over again. Put me in a very painful position where instead of owning that cognitive dissonance and confronting myself with the facts that were being laid out in front of me time and time again, I dug down deeper instead.
Okay, so you're making excuses. That's what this is about. This is what it's really about. If Donald Trump's economy right now was booming, the reality is that you would never see any of these people online. If Donald Trump was able to override the Epstein thing by doing what he's trying to do now, which is basically to create martial law, so that people don't look at that. The Charlie Kirk thing made it so people didn't look at him at the Epstein thing. People had to turn their head left or turn their head to the right. Okay, Donald Trump could throw another smoke screen, which I'm sure he's going to do now. And the economy was booming and people weren't losing their jobs and the government was shut down like it is right now and everything was going just right, none of these people would be making any of these videos. If farmers weren't losing their crops and if farmers weren't losing their money, nobody would be coming out and making these videos. It's as simple as that. I don't feel sorry for none of these people. Now I'll give some of these people this out, okay? That they were lied to tremendously. All right. A lot of people, when they see a white person, this is the truth, they immediately believe that if it's a white person and the person of another race, the white person is inherently more holy, inherently more righteous, and will be inclined to do the right thing because of their white skin. A lot of people think they would. They're not going to tell you that, but that's how they think. All right, that's how they think. When you see Donald Trump standing there, blonde hair, talking in a soft voice, just like, look, I just want to help. He's always talking in a smooth voice. And he's saying things that are obviously true, that we have an immigration problem. You know what I mean? Things shouldn't be the way they are in certain ways. People look at that and they say, well, you know what? He sounds right. I'll vote for him. But then when we show them all the racist stuff that he does, they just say, shut up, black folks. That's what he told us. Listen, black folks, shut up. You're always complaining. All right? Forget about slavery. Forget about the fact that you guys, in the past decades have had almost no rights and you just got your rights. Forget about all that kind of stuff. Shut up and stop complaining. You have the same ability to do things that we white folks are doing, okay? Just do the same thing. It's not that hard, when actually it is much, much more harder, okay? Just stop complaining. Just shut up and like the one woman told LeBron James, shut up and dribble. Just shut up and do what you want and do what you're going to do, okay? Stop talking about being murdered, being unarmed and being shot by cops. Stop talking about being racially profiled. Just stop talking about all that kind of stuff, all right? And Donald Trump showed up and said the same thing, and they said, we love this guy. Now look at what they're saying.
Tennessee. I am a former MAGA, used to love Donald Trump, but I failed to see what he really was. After the January 6th events, it changed. I was for Trump.
That's what I meant to say. I think I said September. I meant to say January 6th when it comes to the insurrection. But let's go. My fault. Y'all just realized I had that date wrong. Let's go back again.
After the January 6th events, it changed. I was for Trump the entire time he contested the election because I always grew up in the Republican household where dead people voting. It's not the case. What the Republican Party has become, it's become MAGA. It's become Donald Trump. It's his people. No matter what he says, it's the truth. To all these people, and my family included, they're MAGA. They're not Republican. They're not Republican whatsoever. Not what I grew up. Republican Party to me is you hold an extreme level of integrity. You have a solid moral compass. You trust in God and the teachings of Christ. Love your neighbor as yourself. The Republican Party that I have been supportive of my entire life.
That's the lie the Republican Party has told you. Same thing with the Democratic Party. Both parties lie. Okay? Both parties lie. The Republican Party loves to talk about God, and Jesus Christ, and it wasn't for, in my opinion, in reality, it wasn't for Jesus Christ in the Bible that they touted so much, they would have no supporters at all. Really, it's because of the Bible that they try to use to say they were on the Bible's side, on God's side, that many people follow them blindly and don't think about what they're saying. They'll say, well, it's either God or the devil. God or the devil. The Republican Party represents God. Okay, I know people like that. They say, well, it doesn't matter what they're doing. We all have faults, but at the end of the day, they represent God. They represent God. All right, no, they represent all kind of wickedness, all kind of evil. Okay, like the guy just said, he said they represent loving your neighbor as yourself and all kind of stuff. The reality is that out of all the parties, the Republican Party is the worst when it comes to human relations and helping the poor and things like that. Every time there's a Republican president, they always pass this is the truth. They always pass a bill, all right, to pull money from the poor and give it to the rich. Every single time. I said this story before, I believe, online, where it's a pastor friend of mine who told me a story about how in the 80s, when not Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan was president, there was this guy who we knew who was homeless. And he used to go to certain institutions, all right, because he was like he had mental problems, okay? And he would go to certain institutions that were around for people that were, they had those kind of conditions, all right, mental homes, places like that. Well, when Reagan came in, he pulled the funding from all that kind of stuff so he could take that money and throw it to his rich buddies. He literally came in and removed all of those places, and the funding disappeared, and those places closed. And that same guy who my friend knew, he was found frozen to death, dead, in an abandoned building. The reason why he died was because Ronald Reagan came in and pulled the funding from the places that he needed to go to. All right. And that's what the Republican Party does. That's what they don't tell you. That's what they don't show you when these so-called Christian shows. That's what they always have been doing. They come in and they do a wealth transfer. Okay. But it's not a godly wealth transfer. It's a wealth transfer where they take money from the poor and throw it to the rich. Okay. And they do this over and over and over and over again. Talk about checking, checking, what's a lie and what's false. I mean, it was true, excuse me. Checking, everything that's going on. Talking about checking people's words, checking reality. Isn't it true that Donald Trump, in his budget, his past budget, in every budget that he's ever had, isn't it true that Donald Trump passed a budget to give the biggest transfer of money from the poor to the rich? Yes, Donald Trump did that. Okay, Donald Trump did that. And all his supporters and all these farmers that are mad. All right, I'm not gonna pull the farmers' videos up, but there'll be more I have to pull up, and I'm gonna do that right now. You can look it up on your own on YouTube, wherever you watch your stuff at. You can clearly see that these people were in favor of Donald Trump, but when Donald Trump pulled the money out from them, when he put these tariffs in place that hurts the farmers, okay, now they're like, oh, we can't believe it. Like for example, I just heard a story the other day, right, where they were explaining how when Donald Trump put these tariffs in, right, that hurt the farmers, there was another country, I think it was, I can't think of the name, I can't remember at the moment, right, but there was another country, right, that essentially removed their tariffs, okay, on other countries when they saw Donald Trump impose his tariffs. And when they removed these tariffs, I think it was China, if I'm not mistaken, they removed certain tariffs that they had, which caused other countries to run to them. So American farmers were left with billions of dollars of seed, okay, that was just not sold. Just not sold. And now they're on a lot of them, I should say, are on the brink of bankruptcy. And it's because of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump came in and lied, because he's a liar. Okay. One of the older friends of Donald Trump actually said that Donald Trump touted lying so much that he said he could lie to you about what time of day it is. Okay. That's what Donald Trump used to say pridefully. He could lie about the time of day. And Donald Trump lied to those farmers. They thought he was going to help them. And he put tariffs in place that's going to cause them to go bankrupt. And some of them already have gone bankrupt. And now they're crying, making YouTube videos saying, we didn't think this was going to happen. Well, Donald Trump said he was going to attack the black folks. You didn't have no problem with that. Donald Trump said he was going to attack the Mexicans. You had no problem with that. Donald Trump said he was going to do all kind of things. He tried to overturn the election. You had no problem with that. But now your money is affected because Donald Trump put in these ridiculous tariffs. And now all of a sudden you've seen the light. Now all of a sudden you can see. And we're supposed to cry with you. And now we're supposed to be awakened. Well, before we were awakened the whole entire time. We tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen. The reality is that, like the Bible says, what you guys say you believe in, you reap what you sow. Okay, you reap what you sow. You sow Donald Trump seeds, and now you're reaping Donald Trump plants. And Donald Trump plants are not what you think they are. Okay, it's as simple as that. Thanks for watching, y'all. Share the video if you can. Hit the like button. Until next time, God bless. Peace.